And we're live. I'm here sitting down today talking to Jeremy McFall. Again, one of my oldest friends. We first met when you were a student, I think in '04, maybe '05, '04,
Oh, four. Yep.
'04.
Uh,
Um,
yeah. Oh,
it had
four.
to be, I think it was late '04. Um, lots of,
Yeah, because I put staff on 05.
yeah, lots of good stories around that. But been together. We were in Panama City for Airman Leadership School, and then played ball in Panama, and then ran into each other again in Germany. Played ball in Germany, and then kind of went our separate ways for a little while, and reconnected along with a bunch of other folks not too long ago, which was fantastic. So, what are you doing now, Jeremy? What's life like for the McFalls?
We're in Navarre, Florida. So I retired out of Herbert Field in 2023, and you have to take a hiatus from going from military to federal service now. So I had to wait that 6 months. So we went to Spain, or I went to Spain for 7 months, and then got hired on as a fire inspector at NAS Pensacola in
Ooh,
Florida. Yeah, home of
yeah,
Blue Angels.
yeah, baby. You see them all the time, don't you?
Yep, every Tuesday, Wednesday they practice. I will tell you one thing about Navy. I know nothing about Navy. Oh, so acronyms galore. I thought Air Force was bad.
Yeah,
No, I know nothing Navy. It
really.
was kind of cool being from Air Force to Navy, so I can be like, question. I don't know what you just said. Yeah, I felt like I really started feeling like an idiot.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah,
Not from my bosses.
yeah. Can you say that in normal words?
Yeah.
Um,
So
so, how did any of the Doge stuff and the reduction affect you? Because you were getting hired right about that time, weren't you?
kind of, sort of. So, the one bad thing, or I don't even know, bad thing, weird thing, whatever the heck they were doing, but nobody knew what was going on. So, like, eh, because I was probationary, because I got hired in February of this year, or not, no, not February, November of last year, I was still under that year probation.
Right.
So, pretty much according to them, all probationary was going to be gone. The one thing about being in the fire department is we're usually civil service, or not civil service, community driven or emergency response, or however they
Mm-hmm.
want to categorize it. Uh, so normally we're in kind of a gray area of everybody else.
Right.
So nobody knew. And there wasn't anything saying like exception for these folks, except for, et cetera, because hell, they're firing FAA uh,
Right.
um, air traffic controllers. So everybody was fair game. So nobody knew. And so I would get a meeting about once a week from my chief, and just, hey, we don't know yet. I'm like, chief, just let me know yes or no. We know it's not on you. Just, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, but you want to give people a heads up. I mean, that's a really good gesture that he wanted to give you some heads up that no news is no news.
Yeah,
Um,
but we knew. It was like news like that though. So it was like, hey, you're gonna get told, and you have till the end of the day, kind of thing.
right.
So
Right.
it was never going to be, hey, you have 3 weeks. That was never going to be a thing. So it was weird, but it was one of the things I never thought. Like like you were talking with Jay, the security and everything like that. Everything we kind of did as military, that was gone. So it's
Yeah.
like, huh,
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought that.
Before we go down a bunch of other roads, how did you take that? How would it? Because
Oh,
it is a drastic change from, like we were talking about. Your whole adult life is pretty secure. I mean,
yeah.
in the service, you have to screw up pretty good to be out. So
Hmm.
there's security around job, there's security around paycheck, and it sounds like you went through a couple of different iterations there in which security wasn't secured.
So yeah, but so you probably know me pretty well. Not a lot that irks me.
No, yeah,
So
but but you have to manage expectations for other folks in your life as well.
sure, but it's one of the things that I learned a long time ago. Is like I can't do anything I can't control. So the fact that I can't control it, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I can't go a certain route if I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to get fired. I need to look for new jobs. But if that doesn't happen, then I've done all that and I didn't need to do that.
Were you looking for
Or
other jobs at the time? Were you staying
no,
active? No,
no,
just
no.
letting it play out.
Yeah, because it was like I said, it was if it was going to happen, it was going to be quick anyway. It wouldn't have been something like, hey, you have 3 week. Here's your 2 week notice. Here's your
Mm-hmm.
3 week, etc. So it was just like we'll just wait and see. Nicole was freaking out, but
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Is
she does it for the both of us.
there's enough for both of you?
Yep.
Okay, so walk me back to why Jeremy McFall joined the Air Force.
Uh, so I joined the Air Force because I hated school. Uh,
I know that feeling.
me,
Go ahead.
yeah. So in high school, I really enjoyed not going. Me and my friends enjoyed being at each other's houses during the school day. And I'm pretty sure, not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I had the third most truancies my junior year.
Attaboy.
Yeah. I didn't get a medal, but
Very good
also
things go all the way. Yeah.
absolutely. That was the time when you could get away with that stuff and you didn't get, messages and stuff like that from your
Mm-hmm.
parents and all that kind of stuff. So you had to get phone calls and you could be at the phone before they got home, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So but it was that thought process of when I was getting close to graduation, my dad would actually sit me down and like, all right, what are you going to do? I had no idea. So at some point he was like, you probably should think about the military. I was like, yeah, I don't know about not wasn't too driven at the point of being in the military, but
Mm-hmm.
also I knew the one good thing is I'm pretty self-aware of my
Self.
faults. My faults. Um, if I would have gone to school, I would have been Van Wilder.
Yep.
I would have been in 7 years. Or what was that? Tommy Boy. A
Yes.
lot of people go to school for 7 years. Yeah, they're called doctors.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been my community college experience, not just college.
I'm with you. 100%, buddy.
So I was like, yeah, screw it. Let's do the Air Force or let's do the military. And my dad's like, he knew me too. He's like, you probably shouldn't do the Marines or the Army.
Probably not.
let's start low. I mean, you can work your way up if you need to, but yeah. So Air Force it was.
Yeah.
He really wanted me to be a pilot, but as we both know, you need a degree to do that, and so wasn't doing school still. So uh, we figured military, and so one good thing, my recruiter actually was an awesome recruiter. The one good thing, I grew up in the Bay Area of California, and millions of people everywhere. So there wasn't like a quota that you had to meet. There wasn't something where the recruiter had to lie to you to get his quota. He just was like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" Awesome. Now my wife's sending me TikToks. Good lord.
Atta girl. Um,
But
so did you tell me how you got your job?
so um, didn't know. Of course, we didn't know the military way of life, or we
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to, go through the process of picking jobs or anything like that. We just kind of went with the recruiter told us. And so the recruiter was like, "All right, you're going to go to MEPS this day. Uh, you'll get a list of everything you can pick, et cetera, et cetera. Pick something." Well, then you go to MEPS, and they're like, "Okay, well, your easiest chance is going open general." And I was like,
Oh,
"Okay."
you didn't.
Well, yes, but that's why I said the recruiter was awesome. So when I went back, he was like, "Oh, hell no, no, idiot. All right, here's a list. Like I said before, I was like, you're 18.
Yeah.
So he was like, here's a list of all the jobs. I circled all the jobs that aren't office or, stuff like that. Like crossed out security forces. You're not going to do that. You don't look like a security forces guy. I mean, you're tall, but at the same time, you're a beanpole.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, firefighting. He's like, perfect. Firefighting. Got it. So he put me in for firefighting. He's like, all right, you have a chance to leave in June or October. I was like, where's basic? He's like, San Antonio. I was like, I'm leaving in October. Smart man.
Yeah, you are.
I want no part of San Antonio in June. So pretty much the only reason I got firefighting was because my recruiter.
And it's
And
worked out
it was
well.
quite, yeah. Turns out I've loved doing firefighting.
Nice. What do you think changed you, or did you change from the 18-year-old Jeremy that came in to the Jeremy I'm talking to now? Did the Air Force change you and mold you in any way, shape, or form?
In every way possible. So, as you know, you probably could think of me, granted, plus a couple of years. I'm probably the same guy I was as a senior airman,
Yes.
mentally wise. So, just the lackadaisical way. I mean,
Yes.
not brain power, but just kind of the level of, I won't say give a shit, but
It's give a shit.
yeah, yeah,
1,000% give
or
a shit.
the fuck it mentality, however you want to call it. Like as senior airman, you were there when I got a almost DUI.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you had to give briefings on.
I did. You are the reason that I gave briefings. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get to that. But so yeah, should have had a DUI. That was back in the day where you didn't really get away, but people kind of looked out for each other, and so I got looked out for and looked out after, and pretty much that changed the way I kept going. So as a senior airman, I could have got a DUI, I could have got an Article 15. I did get Article 15, but I only lost $300 or $200 or something. It was like $200 for 2 months or something like that. But
you got the
hi,
Article 15
Brittany.
before that incident?
No, no, that was towards the end of me getting in trouble. So as an airman, I was a terrible airman. I was an awful airman.
I'm aware. Keep going.
Well, it also didn't help that, like, I was sheltered my first base, because my first base was Eielson, Alaska.
That's sheltering.
There's nothing you can do there. And so going from 18 to 21, I was in Alaska, where you can't do anything. Well, then they sent me to Panama City. There you can do everything.
Yes, sir.
And so, yep. So I went from nothing to spring break galore quickly.
And the spring break in Panama, that was in the early 2000s?
2002, I got there. 2003, I got there.
Yeah, that was still MTV and La Vila spring break.
Oh, La Vila and Spinnaker, I had gold card.
Did you?
Me and one other. Oh, absolutely. It was stupid. Yeah. So, I mean, it's the funny thing. Fire department. Back then we used to work 24-hour shifts, so we worked one on, one off, one on, one off. Well, every 3 months we had a 5-day break. My first 5-day break fell in the heart of spring break, and I was like, question. This is a terrible idea. They're like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'm like, highly doubtful. They're like, just don't get arrested. Dude, I could do that. Bar set real low. I like this. So, I mean, but like, there wasn't anything stopping me at that point. So it was full on
responsibilities.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I went from kind of not really having a girlfriend or anything like that the entire time I was in Alaska to not knowing what to do in spring break. It was like overload. It's like when athletes go from college to the pros and they have multi-million dollars. Yeah, that was me in terms of just where location was.
Yes.
Yeah, so
those are two drastically different locations.
Yep, and especially as an airman with zero responsibility or anything like that. Oh yeah, zero care in life, which is why you met me at the. This is fun times.
Yeah, it was fun times.
Yep, absolutely. So after I got my Article 15, I got it for actually being late to work, which was unheard of then. But because we had a new commander coming in, I was the poster child. I was the example he was making. And which, I mean, I was at fault. It was my fault. So
your video turned off, Jeremy. Oh, there you go.
I know, what the heck? Oh, there it goes. It said I've been using too many gestures. I'm a gesture guy. So
how is that a thing?
I don't know. I blame your app. But so I was the example, and one thing I learned a long time ago, pretty much in Prime Basic, admit your faults. So, like, it helped me in that turn of, like, I was back in Alaska and I was doing upgrade training, and they pretty much set examples to fail me. And they were, and back in the day, they were, you'd get yelled at. This was your way of molding and everything like that. And so they start yelling at me like, "Why the hell did you do this?" And I was like, "I got nothing." and they're just like, "Okay, we were expecting you to lie to us. All right, let's restart the scenario. You're just going to do it again." I was like, "Wait, did I fail? I mean, what happened?" It's just unknown.
Wait. I need to know
Yeah.
what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I got my Article 15, I was like, "Yep, 100% my fault. Won't happen again." And it technically didn't because I wasn't late to work, but we did enjoy the spoils of ALS graduation night.
You did.
Yeah.
And the next day was off.
Yeah, 100%. And we went to Coyote Ugly.
You were a fan of Coyote Ugly, as I recall.
It was brand new.
Oh, it was back then.
Yep. Me and my good old buddy Philip Morris, we enjoyed quite a minute. I mean, he had an apartment pretty much off Back Beach Road, so it was close. Yeah. So I mean, convenient. it was almost like the local bar at that point.
We were just down in Panama for spring break, and La Vila and Spinnaker are all gone now. Nothing's down there. I'm like, man, this is not the redneck Riviera that I remember.
No. There was that like country bar that was on the other side of the street down there on Thomas. I don't remember what it was called, but it was. I mean, you could literally go down an entire Thomas Drive and do anything you wanted.
Yes, it's way different. The only thing that was, we were down by what's the name of that place? Stupid story because I can't remember the name. Disregard.
Pier Park?
No. We were like in between Pier Park and Middle Beach Road.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Pineapple
At Embassy.
Pineapple Willie's is the one. It was like a mile down the beach, and the boys were like, "Hey, that looks like there's things going on down there. Can we go down there?" No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's the Hooters on the beach was down there too.
Yeah, no, we're not going there. Yep. So you would say that you learned restraint, control.
So it's funny because pretty much I deployed as soon as I made staff, and so going from craziness to being a staff and being deployed where you're back to kind of Alaska where you can't do anything, kind of grounded me. So it was more of a, I mean, granted I still did stupid stuff afterwards, but
where was that deployment to?
That one was Iraq. So that was Kirkuk, Iraq. That was number 3 as a brand new staff sergeant. And you're getting mortared, you're doing all the stuff, you're actually having to be an adult quickly. And that's why, I mean, I put my hats off to all those Army guys that are in infantry and brand new and that go straight, hats off to them. But so we went to Kirkuk and we were getting mortared. It's pretty much, it was crazy because there was a train station. They would get the insurgents would get off the train, set up a mortar, get back on the train and leave.
That's convenient.
So, yeah, it was weird. So like not a lot of them did never get caught, stuff like that. And you can't just have military folks just sitting at the train going, I wouldn't do that. Yeah. You can, but it was 2005, so we weren't well liked in Iraq still.
I don't know if we're well liked now.
Depending on who you're speaking to. Like, still one of the things going overseas multiple times, the people there were awesome. I had a great time. The people that are not trying to
kill you.
Yeah. I mean, they're just doing their day-to-day stuff. They're going to the grocery store. They're feeding families. They are the most friendly people. That's why every time I'd go over, I'd spend as much time in town as I could. Just because, I mean, my brother, come on over. And just like, I know you're trying to sell me something, but at the same time is literally you'll remember my name the next time I come in. Right. So, I mean, they're great. They're great.
Sounds like it was a lot like the experience in Korea. If you go off base in Korea, it's very similar.
Yep.
With the exception of people shooting at you. It's
100%. Well, that's one of the things that I found. I mean, when I went to Spain, when I went to Iraq, again, it pretty much their whole goal is just family. So now that they've met you and you're genuine, you're part of the family. So their thought process isn't trying to make as much money as possible. They're not trying to get the next. They're there to enjoy life, have fun, and just make memories. Which which is funny because that's literally what we do now. We try and make as many memories as possible because we're trying to get the boys back together. We're trying to do
Right.
uh, trips. I just went on a golf trip with a bunch of guys that I was in South Dakota with. So I mean, it's keeping that friendship alive, like we were just talking about before we started, of trying to make friends as adults.
It's not easy to keep that. I mean,
It's not a thing.
social media, you would think it makes things easier to keep in touch with people, but it kind of gets overwhelming and stupid. And if you're not, I think, if you're not on the phone with guys frequently, I mean, you can catch up, but that's about it.
Yeah, but I mean, and one thing I think we know, being military so long, is we'll see each other 10 years down the road, and it's like we were together last weekend.
That
So
that
we
part's
don't feel
fun.
like we have. Yeah, we don't feel like we have to most of the time. I mean, there'll be times where like, hey, we need some bro time.
Yeah,
Let's do it, man.
I would venture to guess that if it happened more often, we'd be much healthier mentally.
Oh, 100%. So back on, well, yeah. So back on track to my stories that we
Oh,
already got
oh,
off on track. Yeah.
my bad.
So
You keep us on track, buddy.
no, no, no. I mean, I like to tell stories, as we know. Uh, so going from deployment to the funny thing is, the next part of my journey in the Air Force was when we had a RV fire in Panama City at Tyndall, and I had a guy that was actually senior to me, but he was a cross trainee. It was his first fire, and I was in charge of the scene and everything like that. And when I told him to take the reins, just the joy of his like, oh, it's my first fire. I can do this. And I was like, okay, that was awesome. So that's where I kind of changed my gears to now like a teaching mentality instead of just doing. So that kind of changed my entire path of where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, stuff like that.
So let's conclude that whole thought since you want to get back on your story. So
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, 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 yeah. I'm trying to put together an interim summary here.
Yeah.
So so you started off with no responsibility, Wild West, Panama, running around like a crazy man. Got a little bit of responsibility. Saw some joy from kind of working with others and teaching things, and that kind of shifted you into a more
Yeah, because I
responsible,
did.
well-rounded
Well,
person.
and I hate saying I didn't get joy on things that I did. I felt, I felt the joyous nature of when I did something that, accomplished something, task would whatever have you. But it's kind of like being a dad. When you see one of your kids doing something and you see, that you're just like, all right, this is completely different kind of concept. So I went from, yeah, and it was decently quick, probably 1 or 2 years, going from let's party and have a great time to, all right, we can, we can dwindle that back and do that. And at that point, about that time is when I met Nicole, or not met Nicole. I re-met Nicole because she was my high school sweetheart, and we took a 7 year break. But she was back in my life, and then we had kids and stuff like that. So it actually kind of worked itself out to where that timeline was how it was supposed to go, kind of.
Well, it sounds like one thing led to another, which led to another, which led to another, and you got
It,
other responsibilities.
and that's kind of how why we were talking in the beginning of, were you worried when Doge and everything like that? No, because I mean everything's kind of just, it's. I'm not saying it's going to happen all great ways every single time, but it'll happen. Life's going to keep going. There's no reason
For
to.
sure, for sure, it's
Yeah.
not going to stop.
So, yep. So I stopped worrying about things I can't control a long, long time ago. Where I was like, oh, this is kind of a new journey. Let's see where this goes.
So from there, what did the decision look like when you decided to retire? Why did you decide to retire? What'd that look like?
Well, technically, they kicked me out
How so?
because I was a higher tenure.
Oh, okay, okay. But you knew it was coming.
So yeah. Because as a master, I couldn't go past 24 years, and
Hmm.
I hit 24 years on the dot. Uh, so it was one of those things where being a firefighter and being that mentor and being, I just love doing it. And so being in a cool job where it was always changing, like fire doesn't go one way, it changes each time. So, I mean, being in South Dakota where we had wildland fires, we had brush fires, we had structure coming to Florida again, where we now have hurricanes, where we have, so it's always ever changing based off of the kind of emergencies.
Hmm.
And it was watching all these young kids now, I can say, because they're the same age as my son, uh, having them kind of mold into what I was to where I am now was the exact kind of like the looking in a mirror type
Hmm.
of mentality to where, all right, I can watch these guys uh, grow up, succeed, all this kind of stuff. One of my favorite stories was I was in South Dakota and one of my troops came to Panama City. Hadn't talked to him in a year. And he FaceTimed me and to tell me he got the Levito Award at ALS.
Nice.
Like the first person he called. Haven't talked to him in a year, but awesome kid. I mean, he had that past kind of the same similar to where it wasn't, you're the stellar airman, et cetera, to where he's now the Levito. And it was watching that. It was just like, this is awesome. Okay, I've done my part. I've done a great job.
So that's what kept you in until higher tenure.
Yep, yep.
Hmm. So what did
And
planning look like coming up to that? So you kind of knew when it was coming. Were you?
yes.
Let me take you back. Were you trying to make senior to stay in longer? Was
Oh
that
no,
a
no, I
goal
wasn't
for
gonna
you?
make senior.
Okay,
No, uh, based off, I barely made master.
I know.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. Me and my boss when I was in South Dakota, we haven't liked each other for a long time. So being a tech there, he would, I don't say shit on everybody else underneath him, but he was one of those trying to get his way.
Hmm.
And at one point, I changed my gear to where it's like, okay, we have to shield the everybody underneath me to where I get the brunt of it. And I got a 4 in the old EPR system.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I was like, well, I'm not making master. So, uh, which at that point I was fine with because I knew why I was doing what I was doing.
Hmm.
And he left. The next guy came in who happened to be with all of us as airmen. So he knew who the last boss was as well. And so that kind of changed the mindset of, all right, we can, we can think about me now. And so at that point, I was going to retire out of South Dakota because I would have had to stay at 20. I would get out at 20 at that point. And then I made master, I think at 18. And I was like, ooh, I can leave South Dakota. So that was the goal. That was the whole goal. I wasn't to make senior. It was trying to get to where we want to retire.
Right.
Uh, and it was supposed to be Charleston, but that got canceled. So they sent us down to uh, Herbert Field.
Man,
And
that's
so
a
we had to,
really terrible diversion.
well, it was
Wow.
funny because,
Way to take one
so
for the
it was,
team, Jeremy.
yeah, it was funny because, so we were in Panama City and as a family, Panama City's okay.
Yeah.
Panama City's fine. Vacations, sure, it's great because you're at the beach. Panama City itself and the base,
Not
I
great.
mean, Panama City is a beach city without a beach because you got the paper mill right there. I mean, I don't think there was any beach in Panama City.
No.
You have to go to the beach. You have to go to Mexico.
Hmm.
Mexico Beach, not Mexico. But so when I got Herbert Field, I was like, all right, fine. I know the area, so I was like, okay, we'll go. It won't be where we end up.
Hmm.
And then we got here, we're like, oh, this is 1,000 times different.
Yes, it's
Okay.
way, way different down there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we were like, yeah, we can end up here. That's not a problem. So uh, the whole process was just get down to where we want to retire, and then we'll go from there. And like I said, I'm kind of way with the wind kind of person. So my I planned for retirement. I thought of what I was going to do because like I said, you have that 6 month gap. You have to go do something prior to. Do I do contracting overseas? Do I, et cetera, et cetera. Well, about a year or so before I retired, the first command, we talked about that, but first command came to me and it's like, hey, you want to be a financial advisor?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was never on my thought process. So that's one of the reasons why I say that I just kind of go with the wind because I never thought that was going to be a thing. So at that point, my goal has now changed. So I was still planning everything I could have to get out, but I was still kind of just let everything happen the way it was. So I was prepping to be first commander and financial advisor, which would have been awesome because it would have been just for the military folks, and that's the only reason I wanted to do it. That didn't end up happening for a couple of reasons, but theirs and mine. And so it was like, okay, now we're back on this other track. So we were back on retirement, and at that point we decided, okay, we're going to stay here because of kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'll do contracting until we figure out what we want to do next. So I was going to do Iraq or Afghanistan or Africa, and then Spain opened up. I was like, oh, I like Spain.
That's way different.
Yeah, that's going to be way more fun. Sorry, babe. And she's like, wait, I have to take care of the family and take care of the kids while you go to Spain? I was like, yeah, that's going to suck. So we agreed upon a family vacation to go to Europe. So she'll probably say it didn't equal each other out, but at the same time, we did a vacation.
Oh wow. How long
Yeah.
were they over?
So
Was it a month?
no, we were there 12, 13 days. So we went London, then Scotland, then Paris, then Ireland.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
And yeah, it was a lot just because kids haven't been. I mean, like your kids, like you're telling Jay, my kids don't remember Germany.
No.
AJ was 3 when we left. Reagan was just
not
born.
3 when you left.
He's 13. He's 6. 6. My bad. Yeah, because Reagan would have been just born, so they have a 6-year gap. Yeah.
So he was talking, and him and Landon were
Yeah.
running around.
Oh yeah, him, Landon, all those.
Mm-hmm.
Bray, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Bailey family. The Flores is. I mean, the fact that we had just a family at softball was it was fun. I'm not going to get off track there, but so we had a family and a family I didn't want to leave, but we wanted to go stateside too, so we wanted to be near actual family. Turns out when we got to actual family, we would have rather been with softball family, just because I mean, there's so many other kids around. I mean, pretty much when you go on vacation, when you have kids go on vacation, you kind of go to watch kids.
Yes.
So the fact that we had that all the time was something, something we never thought we'd miss until it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
the difference in camaraderie and doing things together overseas as opposed to in the States is drastic.
extremely. One good thing is being fire department is we're kind of a brotherhood, sisterhood in the first place, just because we work with each other so often anyway. So, when we have, a 2-year-old's birthday party, it's 99% firefighters with probably 1 to 2% others. And we're still having beverages. We're still having fun. We're still making it about the kid, quote unquote. Yep. So, but same thing was when we were softball. So the fact that we got to do it with everybody who was about the same age was something that, we'll never, I won't say we'll ever get back, but like being in the military is a camaraderie that is the one thing people miss every time when they get out.
So what did you think, or what expectations did you have for retirement when you retired? What did you think it was going to be like compared to where you're actually at now? Do you have any expectations around that? And the reason I ask is that when I was retiring, it was find a job, find a job, find a job, find a job. You have to have a job. It's going to be so hard to find jobs. But that didn't seem to be the case as opposed to other things.
So that's the one good thing. Like I said, that's the one good thing about being in fire department. You can go anywhere. So it's one of the few jobs in the Air Force. I mean, there's probably a handful, 20 or so, that you can literally do the same thing in the civilian world as you can do in the military world.
Mm-hmm.
So getting a job was never the problem. It was more of like, what do we, it is, and I'm still here now. I don't know what I want to do as an adult. I don't know if I don't know if I want to do firefighting the rest of my life. I don't know if I want to do something else, but I'm doing it because one, it's the easy button. Two, I don't know what else I want to do.
Right.
But I want to do something. I just don't have a clue what it is, and it hasn't come to where I'm like, ooh, let's follow this dream.
Right.
So at the time of so backtracking, every time somebody would get out, and I'm the mentor, I tell them, hey, remember that you're gonna want to come back because you miss the camaraderie, you miss. So try and bridge that gap as much as possible. Like we were talking about before I got on, Adam Blank's down the street, so my camaraderie is gonna be there. It's
Mm-hmm.
if hey, we need a beer, yeah, just we'll ride my bike or drive down the street. It's hot in Florida right now, so we drive a lot just because it's humid. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that that was never going to be a gap. So one of the things that most people are scared about when they get out, I was already 50% better than most.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about the making a living portion, because I can kind of go anywhere or do anything, it was never really an issue. It was more of like, okay, so what do we want to do? How do we want to do it? Like I said, kids were priority number one, so we're staying here. Okay, now what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
So it was always just a process of next, not like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap.
So Jay was mentioning something the other day that I found he worded it in a way that really hit home, and it made a lot of sense to me. You know, you spend the vast majority of your adult life, and we talk a lot about service. You know, you're doing this for the country, you're doing it for this, you know. Um, and he worded it. He's still working on the base as well, but it really hit home to me is you just take that service component and you put it in a box and you just put it off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there. Do you feel like you are still getting that through working on a base as a fireman, or did you lose that big
Oh yeah,
component
she's got
of?
she's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the weird part was it happened the day I retired because you go put all your paperwork in, and MPF, the personnel service, was there, and they say, okay, you're good. Have a good day. That's it. You're done.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell?
And you would
It's
think that would be a
A1.
huge relief.
Yeah. Well, you have an A1C just saying like, all right, your 24 years are over. Have a great day. Oh, okay. And so at that point, it was like me being important was gone.
Yes.
So even in my job now, I'm not the mentor. I'm the fire inspector. Just, I do the job and then that's it. And it's weird. I don't like it, but it's the way of the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I miss that portion of it where people are, hey, how do I do this? Hey, I need help. Hey, yeah. I mean, that's what brought me my joy.
Mm-hmm.
So not having it, yes, sucks. So, yeah, but I have to fill it with other stuff. So
What do you
that's
fill
gone.
it
Golf.
with? So it's not very full.
Well, but like, so it'll come in waves. So one of the things with having now an 18-year-old, he didn't do well on his first SAT because he did what we do is he goes into the test, he didn't study for it, he didn't prep for it, he didn't do anything like that. Yeah, no kidding, you're not going to do well. That's whenever I used to say I don't test well, yeah, because I didn't prepare.
Correct.
It's weird how as soon as you like, oh, hey, I do know how to test, I just need to know the information first.
It's a completely different thing when you know what you're getting tested
Yeah, right.
over. It's amazing.
When I don't go into the first 10 questions of a promotion test going, I don't think this is in English.
Yes. this? I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing now.
First, Chief mentioned, dang it, I knew this one. I even met him. Uh, no, but so helping my son prep for the SATs was kind of that fill the box. So it'll be different than service now. It'll just be with single individuals kind of thing.
More
So
sporadic.
where my, yep. And so, but I can be okay with that. So it's just about knowing that I'm okay with that, and that's when it'll happen. Is what the process that I kind of used.
Just wait and see.
Yeah, as you know, that's my
It's
mantra.
worked for you for
Yep.
a long time, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to always be good, but I mean, I didn't mess up, so it's probably not going to be bad. It's going to be that. It's like I always tell everybody. They're like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm living the dream. They're like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "I didn't say it was a good dream. I mean, it could be worse."
Yes. When anybody, it's funny how many people don't understand what you're saying when you say that.
Yeah, I mean, but it is a. I'm from California. I never thought I'd be in any part of the Middle East, any part of Florida, any part of Korea,
Mm-hmm.
Alaska, whatever. It is technically a dream. It is something that I never thought I'd ever do.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Most of the time, when I have heard it said or said it myself, it's because things are going really, really bad. Like I am living the dream.
Hmm.
Somebody's dream. Somebody is dreaming about this somewhere because it's way worse for them. But I'll take it. I'll take it for the time being.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's airmen that are sitting on the line on the security forces watching a plane in South Dakota during the winter. It's like, man,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
definitely messed up here.
Yep. 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 Remember that good recruiter story?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I do remember. So I was in tech school and I told them I was going to Alaska. And they're like, oh, at least it's not in North Dakota. I'm like, well, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
You're going to be cold. You're just not going to get wind. Oh, fair enough.
So as your higher tenure was approaching, as retirement was approaching, what did you view in that space and time? What did you view as the most important thing for you guys? What were you focused on more than anything else?
Oh,
And did that focus change as you went through the process?
sort of. But like I said, my path kept changing. So the main thing I was trying to focus on was just the family side of, okay, AJ will be I think it was a junior at the time, so he'll be a junior. So we're worried about, just high school stuff. Reagan was fourth grade, I think, at the time. So we're worried about that. So as long as we can worry about something that we can control,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
nothing I can do higher tenure wise was really uh, a problem. Plus, the one good thing, or one of the good things that happened in the fire department is I had a guy that was literally doing it the exact same month. So he was also higher tenure. So we were kind of just bouncing everything off each other and everything like that. So we both retired within like a month of each other. And I was his MC for his retirement. And he didn't want to do mine because he was already retired with a beard. He didn't want to put that blues on again. So he's like, oh no. But I mean, it's sweet beards. I don't blame him.
No, no, no.
But yeah. But I mean, we had each other to kind of bounce everything off of, and like I would forget something and he would remember, and then he would, vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
to where we would just help each other out, and it made the process a whole lot easier.
So main focus was not moving the family, keeping the family in the place that
Nope.
you were,
Yep.
letting the kids finish up.
Yep.
So that's what drove you to kind of contract work anywhere for you, as long as the family stayed in place.
Right. And so I deployed 8 times. So at this point, we were okay me leaving. Sucks, sure, but we were doing it because of all these other things we wanted to keep in place.
Mm-hmm.
So like year in advance, especially after we decided, hey, we're good with Herbert Field, we're good with the Navarre area, we're good with Florida. All right, done. That part's done. I can move, I can do stuff if I need to, if we need to bridge that gap until something opens up. The one thing about being here is I have Herbert Field, Eglin, and NAS Pensacola. Theoretically, there's going to be a firefighting job opening up at some point.
Yeah, that's a lot of opportunity.
Is it the one I want? No. But at the same time, I'm starting as a civilian like an airman. I'm day one, step one. So it wasn't like I never had this pride of, oh, I got to get this job. Oh, I'm this important. Blah blah blah. It was all right. We want to stay here. That's priority. Whatever job it is, that'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
That'll bridge that gap of the financial side to where we'll be fine. And so,
So, in terms of finances and home and things like that, you were in a really good place that you didn't need to maintain a salary of some kind to maintain quality of life.
yep, correct. Yeah, because everything we did prior to with the house, I mean, we bought a house and we didn't, we had a payment based off of the old interest rate, everything like that. So that, of course, helped.
Yeah, it did not hurt.
Yeah, cars were at this point pretty much paid off. I mean, the goal, the financial burden for when we retired was thought out to where, okay, if something happens, we have year and a half to where we have to really go, oh crap, what do we got to do? So no point in worrying month 3 when we know we have a year and a half.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, I was just say just so that that mindset of worry, doubt, self-doubt, all that just was never there. So it was more of a, all right, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I meant to say a minute ago when you were talking about going to Spain and all your deployments, I vividly remember Nicole saying, "Isn't it time for you to deploy again?"
Yeah.
Don't you need to leave for a little while, Jeremy?
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, she enjoys the bed all to herself. That's why she likes me working 1 day a week at the fire station so she can enjoy the starfish mode of bed. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's now our new norm being on shift or being away. So it kind of puts everybody into their normal mindset of, okay, she's taking care of kids, getting them ready. AJ's doing this, Reagan's doing this. I'm at work. She's at work. Okay, I can be off now, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, biggest takeaway for you was keeping the family stable through the kind of
Yep.
change in career.
Yeah, and the weird part is now that we're stable and we're set in Florida, we're like, we haven't moved in a long time. When do we move?
I say that a lot. Until you move by yourself, like I've moved once since I retired, and I did the whole thing myself, and I'm like, if I have to go somewhere else and somebody packs me up, that's okay, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it myself again.
No, but the change of locations was something new and exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
As long as you, I mean, depending on where you go, of course, but as long as you have that outset of like, okay, we're trying something new.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, oh man, this is weird. Another thing that we're not used to of like, oh, I'm going to miss not moving. Well, I didn't think that was going to be a thing.
No, because you guys have been there for how many years now?
5.
Yeah, that's a long time. I think that's the longest I was anywhere ever.
I was in South Dakota 7, but that's only because that's where we thought we were retiring at the point.
No, I got here in 2020, and this is the longest I've been anywhere in my life.
Yeah, because you retired right before
2020.
I came down here. No, I mean before I came down here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I remember what it was. I was at your MC. I was supposed to be your MC, but I was at Fort Dix in quarantine for deployment, and I couldn't leave.
Yes, you were. Yep. That's when I ran into you in New Jersey.
The
most bestest.
Hey, it could be worse.
It could be. It was only a year, and that was enough.
Yeah.
So overall, if you look back at the military to the transition out of the service, what do you think was the most challenging part?
The unknown. And like I said, I had Adam here, but just the thought process of where my inner circle is going to be. So one thing, especially fire department, is every time we go to work, we have an inner circle. We have a bunch of like-minded folks, and it's usually a big department. Like I know female was usually decently sized if you go to a big place, but as a command chief or something like that, you probably were on the island by yourself. So we always had each other. So now that I don't have that, where's that gonna? How am I gonna fill that? And we did okay having meetups and stuff like that with the fire department we had here because I didn't move, so I still had people.
Mm-hmm.
But like we talked about, life gets in the way. You don't go see each other as often, that kind of stuff.
You really have to
So it
make a
was,
conscious effort to keep those connections.
and everybody else went apart their day. You're the only one that changed, so you have to make the effort because you can't expect others to be like, okay, well, I'm still doing this stuff. You're the one that did other things,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the things that we always talked about at the fire department is I'm going to retire at some point. My job will come open. I'm training the guy to make sure that when I'm gone, there's no there's no there's no missteps
Yep.
because the fire department will stay the fire department. So as long as that guy's ready to do that next job, they won't even know that I'm gone. They will miss the sarcastic nature of me being there. Sure, the person will be filling the seat.
Yeah,
So
I used to word it differently, but if you get hit by a bus, somebody else will do your job tomorrow.
yeah,
The machine's
especially
not
fire
going to
department.
stop. Yeah, the machine's not going to stop because you're not there.
Nope.
And if you
It,
ever think it's going to stop because you're not there, then you have screwed up a lot of things.
well, and you're a little too narcissistic for that to be in that job in the first place because it doesn't matter what job it is. You be a CEO of something. If that guy's not ready to take your spot, you failed as a boss.
True, true, true. Did you grow during this transition? Do you feel like you grew personally as a family? What what kind of change was
Grow.
there?
I don't know about grow. It was more of a notice. So things I just didn't even think about beforehand. Now you have to kind of change your ways of doing things. So, for instance, like the first 2 months, I wasn't working at all. So now I was doing everything to try and bridge a gap between the military and the civilian world when my family was doing the exact same stuff they've been doing. I'm the only one that's, like I said, I'm the one that's changed. So trying to think differently of, okay, it's kind of like when you come back from a deployment. It's like, okay, well, this family has ran the entire time I was gone. Okay, well, I can't just come in and insert myself into XYZ. I have to kind of sit back. I have to kind of just go with the flow of how things are going and then help out when I can and make sure I'm not just asking all the time. I'm just kind of doing as well. So, I mean, yes and no is just more of a, okay, well, how do I help around now?
So did your role? So you went from what was your role when you retired? You were doing.
I was in charge of the emergency operations. So I was AC of operations. So I was in charge of everybody on shift and I was taking care of everybody underneath me
And now
to not doing that.
you wander around doing fire inspections.
Yep. Yep. So
Did you have
completely
to
different side.
did you have to learn a bunch for that? Did you have to change the way you look at things?
Oh, 100%. So especially because like I went Navy. So Navy does things differently, just like Army and Marines would. But contracting kind of brought me that like mindset of how to do. I mean, we were still on an Air Force base, but just it wasn't the Air Force way. It was kind of close, but you still had to tweak some things. Navy was completely different. But the one good thing about fire department is you kind of have to do a lot of the jobs in the fire department if you deploy. So if you deploy, you kind of fill in every job known to man. If we have minimum manning. You deploy. You only have so many people, so you're doing the fire inspector, you're doing health and safety, you're doing a bunch of other things. So you kind of get the gist of it. You're just not known as being the subject matter expert. So now I had to change how I read the regulations, how I did because most fire department stuff is, I mean, it's all regulation based, but it's a lot of gray area because fire changes.
Because of the smoke?
No, like for instance, if you have a house fire, it's going to be different than a car fire or a
Jeremy,
aircraft.
come on, man. Gray because of the smoke.
Uh, must be a non-fire department joke. I never even heard that one.
I was shocked. It's so easy. It's a layup. So you had to change the way you're doing things because everything happens. when you say happens differently, you mean the situation is always almost
Yeah,
entirely different every single situation.
correct. In inspections, it's 100% black and white. It's, hey, this building needs to be inspected. This needs to be, et cetera. Blah, down, down. It's pretty much like a checklist now.
Is
And
your
so now
fuse
I get
usually
to,
plugged into a power strip?
yep. Make sure everything that creates heat is not plugged into a surge protector. All that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't. No, you can't have that heater right next to your feet. Do you have it authorized by the Navy? All that stuff.
You have to get the heater authorized by the Navy.
Oh, yeah. Navy is crazy.
Is it?
There's a lot of like the the base is in charge of the base. Technically, there's a region that's in charge of everybody in the region. So they are your wing command, if you will, of everything that's in charge, and we have to go to the region to do pretty much anything. So our fire chief is, of course, the fire chief, but at the same time, he has to answer to another fire chief. It's like, what the heck?
Wow.
It's weird.
I
Yeah. So
guess
we
structurally it would have to work that way if you're, because of how the Navy is kind of spread out. But
so the when Doge finally quit their 5 bullets that we had to do, that was so stupid. But there was nobody reading those bullets. They didn't care what I did as a fire inspector. Anywho, a mass majority of the people that were complaining, because the last thing they said was, "What can we do to get this better?" And everybody said, "Get rid of the region." Because fire department, we're in charge of the base.
yeah.
It's self sufficient to where we can make sure everything happens. We don't need somebody else telling us, "Hey, this is how you do things." No, 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 we're good. You're good.
Hmm.
But yeah,
It's
but such
interesting.
is life.
It's interesting that they do it that way.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Army or the Marines do, but Air Force doesn't.
No.
You know,
But we tend to do a lot of things a little bit differently and a little bit more self-sufficient. It seems.
we'll have we'll have MAGCOMs. We'll have that. But they don't tell you, "Hey, you have to do it this way." Like, hey, these are the things that you would have to make sure happen. Yeah, got it. Easy.
Easy, easy.
Yep.
Um, so one of the things that my beautiful wife has instituted that we do with the boys all the time is a top three. So whenever something
Ooh,
happens,
yeah.
it is something we have a top three. So reaching back to your the very beginning of Jeremy the Knucklehead to Jeremy today, what are your top three positive takeaways from your service?
Well, number one is just the amount I thought I knew I didn't know, and that is in regards to location, relationships, friendships. Literally everything. Because where you grow up, that's a bubble,
Yes.
and I now have what, like 20 of them, maybe. So the fact that what I thought was normal life is not, which is a good thing, because you can kind of, like what I've been saying, I can wing it. So, like, we had our get together, what was it, last September?
Last September, yep.
Yeah. Well, this past May, or no, this past June, earlier this month, I went on a golf trip with other guys. So you're building all kinds of different friendships. You just firefighters, softballers. It's just a matter of, as long as you let everything soak in. What's that? The world's your oyster.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So that's number one, just because I never thought I'd experience any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is, unless somebody's dying, nothing matters.
Oh, please go on with this one.
So, being fire department, we get yelled at, for everything known to man, but just like everybody else. But unless somebody was dying, nothing is going to happen. Nothing's going to change the way. That's not the very best way to say it. So nothing is going to matter enough to where you have to
change the way you're doing business.
Let me change my thought there. So when I would tell my firefighters. Everything they do, just keep doing it. Unless somebody dies, nothing is going to get you to a point where you're going to get in trouble. Now, stupid stuff will happen. So, I mean, like, we'll wreck a truck. We'll do, things. Stupid accidents are going to happen. As long as nobody died, we're going to keep on living. So, for the fire department, if we had a medical emergency or something like that to where we saved a life, and we were in Jordan, we actually saved a life for about 8 hours, and then he ended up passing away. It's like, okay, so you look back, yes, there was a death. Could you have done anything differently? Well, maybe. Would it have changed anything? No. So keep on that mindset of you can do literally anything. I fucked that one up. I don't know where I was going with that one.
I don't know where you're going with that one. So tell me the story about the dude in Jordan.
So we had a massive sandstorm, and he got hit. So I think it was an Alaskan tent. I don't remember the tents that hold the aircraft in them. Mm-hmm. They're massive. So its main beam broke in the massive sandstorm, and literally hit him on the head, like fell on him. It's like 1,000-pound beam, and so he was like instantly brain dead. We didn't know this because there's no blood on the outside. Everything was internal.
Airman?
Yep, been there a week, and so I was in charge, and my guys did CPR on him for over an hour because he even went with the medevac to the Jordanian hospital, and they kept him alive until his family got there, and then they pronounced him dead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yep. Because they were in Spangal, and his fiance was there.
Oh, okay.
And his dad flew from the States. And he literally gave every single one of us a hug just for keeping him alive so he could say goodbye. Ooh. Yeah. And all my airmen were beating themselves up because they couldn't keep him alive. It's like, dude,
in that scenario, do they even have the resources or capacity to do that? No.
Nope. But as a 23, 24-year-old guy who's doing CPR, you don't have that mindset. You have, what I did didn't work. Mm-hmm. What can I have done? And so I had a whole bunch of guys beat themselves up. It's like, hey, if you had literally rocked it and did everything you could do, sometimes it's not fair. Mm-hmm. So that's usually my poster child of, that's your 99%, that's your 1%. Everything after that, it doesn't matter. You'll retire, you'll get booted, you'll do, okay, so what's next? How do you move on from that? It doesn't matter what it is. It's just a matter of remembering that life keeps going on. The position will be filled, however you want to word it. If you can prep yourself to where it's what's next, or okay, where do I go from here? That 1% won't phase you anymore because you'll be ready for it. You'll be able to tackle it. And if it happens, you'll be able to mentor and mold your folks and do better.
So a little bit of self-belief. Believe that you as a person can...
Yep, I'd say so.
Can keep working, can persevere.
Well, and also remembering you're just one piece of the puzzle. You're not the main piece of the puzzle. So if you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, it'll work out. Okay. So if you can kind of not think worst case scenario when it comes up, or every single time you have a case scenario, you're like, oh, I'm gonna
trust the process. The process
yeah.
Okay. And number 3, what's your number 3?
Oh hell, I have no idea. Have fun. Life's short. Everything. You will miss things you didn't do once you're out.
Yes.
So you can try and fill it as much as possible, or you can just let it happen. Like coming back from Spain to go to a boys trip in Atlanta, even though it was expensive. Yeah, but you're like, okay, well, this will be expensive. This will be a memory I have forever.
Yeah. It was a very good time. Okay, last one.
What are your top three?
We're going to get to my top three later in another place, buddy.
Ooh, all right.
Perfect. So last one.
Is Brittany going to interview you?
No. I don't think that would go as well. So what if you could go back and give young Jeremy McFall a piece of advice? What do you think that piece of advice would be? And at what point would you give that advice?
You say like serious advice?
Yes, seriously. It's your advice, buddy. It's your advice.
Don't do dumb shit.
I think you got that advice multiple times and it didn't say
anything.
No. Try a different one.
Yeah, no. Hey, don't do this. Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
Did you say do that?
Yeah. I wouldn't.
No?
Weirdly enough, no. So the two things are.
So no regrets.
I would zero. I mean, of course, there are regrets, but I mean, I learned and I lived and I came out from it. So
what I mean by regrets are things that you wish you would have done differently. So would you talk to the Jeremy McFall before he did those things, or did you think you're better off having had done them and learned that lesson?
Oh yeah, it's definitely better off because like I'm not so and I apologize to everybody that I keep bringing up the fire department, but the fire department is different when it comes to like the military mentality. It's not technically rank driven. It's position based. Mm-hmm. So like everybody when they're in the military, their goal or most people's goal is to be the assistant chief of operations. You want to be in charge of operations. That's your goal. Once you pass that, you're now in the senior and chief realm where you're not on operations. You can't be on operations. So most people don't want that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So now there are some that, they have, this self goal of, hey, I want to be a chief. Cool. Awesome. 100%. Make chief. I'll help you. I have people that are younger than me that they're like, hey, just got senior. Thank you. And it's like, you got one more to go. But that was never my goal. So I wouldn't go back saying, hey, let's try and do better on this test to make this. Let's try and do better on this to do. I think I'm good with what came out. Now,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and that's good and bad. That's not 100% good. Now, no, that's lie. I would tell myself to invest in Bitcoin.
Okay. Earlier than you already did?
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? You still left it alone?
Family did. I didn't. I was a staff sergeant at the time. I didn't know any better. I'm like, ooh, you want me to put all the money I've ever made into this thing I don't know anything about?
This fake internet thing? Yeah.
Like not doing that. Guys. But no, in reality, no.
No?
I mean, that, of course, but that's a lot. That's one lie. I would have started investing sooner.
Okay.
Only because how long were you in? 25?
24 and a half.
Yeah. We didn't have TSP when we first came in. So there was no thought process to, even when it came out, it was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. It was like, okay.
Oh, maybe for me, it was like, I can't see this, so that's money I can't spend. Let's put money in that.
Oh, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be real. I mean, just because it was, you're 23, 24, and you haven't been in this realm, so there wasn't ever a thought process of doing that. So that's one thing I tell, and we do actually financial classes now, because like, all right, what you want at 25 is not going to be what you want at 30. What you want at 30 is not going to be what you want at 40. So you have to prepare for something you don't know anything about.
That's a good point.
Even if you don't want to. Like you said, it's money gone, never saw it. Yes. Now, I did start doing it, thankfully enough, but at the same time, I would have liked to have done it earlier or better. Just having the knowledge of what I was doing, because stock market when we were I mean, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have anything like that when we first started. So you never thought anything about that kind of stuff.
No, I did not. Didn't it was a mystery and magic that I didn't know anything about, but people threw money at and made money, and I
Sounds fake, but okay.
yeah, it sounds like good fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, well, we have reached the end, Jeremy.
Wow, that took not as long as I thought.
No, not as long.
I thought we were going to be talking for like 2 hours. I mean, we can still talk afterwards, but
Yeah. So let's end it here, and thank you very much for your time, sir.
thank you, brother. It's